It's the 5th episode of Survivor Thailand, and last time, tensions were high at Koh Tao as Morgan survived a cutthroat plan to get her out, leaving Sabrina and Kaylee on the bottom of the tribe. With an ice cream bar reward won by Koh Tao, everyone enjoyed themselves with self-serve ice cream, and Morgan enjoyed herself the most after finding a legacy advantage for herself. As Koh Tao lost yet another immunity challenge, it was Sabrina and Kaylee versus Jordan and Morgan at Tribal Council. However, Zaylin made sure to stay loyal to the women by getting Corey to flip on Morgan and Jordan, voting out Wilbert at Tribal Council in a 5-3 vote. Who will be the next player voted out? We'll find out by the end of the episode. It's night 9 in the game, and after yet another blindside at the previous Tribal Council, Morgan and Jordan group up with Corey, Zaylin, and Lizel, asking what happened with the vote. In confessional, Jordan admits he has no clue what went wrong in the plan to get rid of Sabrina. Corey, Zaylin, and Lizel all flipped on Wilbert, so his main concern is that they want to work with Sabrina and Kaylee, leaving himself and Morgan on the outs. Corey then tells Jordan and Morgan that him, Zaylin, and Lizel decided to get Wilbert out since he barely spoke game to them. Sabrina and Kaylee put a lot of effort all day, so they felt like it made no sense to keep Wilbert. Morgan then asks what this means for their future as a 5-person group, and Zaylin lets them know that they are still down to make this alliance work out. Just because they flipped, it doesn't mean they flipped to go against the two of them. In confessional, Zaylin explains that she wanted to balance out the two sides gunning for each other. She's playing the middle, and in order for it to work out in her favor, she had to get rid of Wilbert. It's unfortunate since her and Wilbert had a great personal bond, but game-wise, she didn't feel a connection. Now that he's gone, there's 7 people on the tribe, and 4 of them are pinned against each other. Corey is leaning towards working with Jordan and Morgan, while Lizel is closer to Sabrina and Kaylee. If this tribe goes to another tribal, she will have to decide which group to go with, and at the moment, she's undecided. It's day 10, and Sabrina chats with Lizel alone, thanking her for trusting her and Kaylee on this vote. Lizel says she never considered flipping on them. They are working as 4 ladies anyway. Sabrina hugs Lizel and thanks her once again, and in confessional, Sabrina says she feels great waking up on day 10 with some solid allies. She finally trusts Lizel and Zaylin again, even after the little hiccup they had 2 rounds ago. Her main concern right now is their closeness to Corey. It's evident they don't want to split from Corey, and they refuse to admit that to herself and Kaylee. Although nothing can be done to get Corey out, at least they can get one of Morgan or Jordan out who are fully against her. Zaylin then joins Lizel and Sabrina, saying good morning to them. Sabrina says she just wanted to thank them for trusting her. She appreciated their honesty yesterday when they warned she was in trouble. Zaylin says it was no problem. Her and Lizel are locked in with this alliance of 4. Sabrina smiles and says she can finally relax on this tribe. At camp, Morgan gets out of her tent after waking up, and she sits by the fire with Kaylee and Jordan. In confessional, Morgan admits she doesn't feel safe with the current dynamics. Corey, Zaylin, and Lizel suddenly run this tribe, and that's because herself and Jordan are pinned against Sabrina and Kaylee. She feels like something has to change because she doesn't want to remain in this vulnerable position any longer. Morgan then comments how wild last night got when they all got into it at the discussion. Kaylee agrees and says she doesn't want to go through another argument like that. She misses the good old times when they all bonded as an alliance. Morgan then says they could perhaps revive that alliance and work together with Sabrina. They could take down this Koh-Pota trio who have been running this tribe the last few votes. In confessional, Kaylee chuckles and says Morgan thinks she can manipulate her into working with her and Jordan again, but it's not happening. The trust was already broken, and she mainly blames Jordan because he never looped her in to vote Peter out. She'll pretend like they are good again, but they really aren't. Her true allies are Zaylin and Lizel. Kaylee then tells the two that she'd be down to make this work. she can see what they mean by the co-POTA trio running things. Jordan remains quiet the whole time while Morgan continues to talk about the rebuild of their old alliance, and in confessional, Jordan stresses out because of what Morgan is doing. They have a clear alliance with Corey, Zaylin, and Liesl that they should still work with. If those three didn't want to work with them, they wouldn't have voted out Wilbert. It sucks that Morgan is playing with fire by trying to realign herself with Kaylee. It's not going to work. Kaylee will spill the beans and himself and Morgan will be in danger. On the co-POTA tribe, everyone sits on the ground and Willow begins to beatbox. They all cheer them on, and in confessional, Wesley says that co-POTA is currently thriving with these latest immunity wins. They had 5 whole days of safety, so they decided to start showcasing each other's talents by holding a Survivor talent show. Chloe is up to show her talent, and she says her talent is acting like a statue. Everyone is curious to see what she means, and Chloe stands still, barely moving an inch. About a minute goes by, and Chloe remains still. In confessional, Joe laughs and says he adores Chloe to pieces. She's like a younger sister to him. She's charismatic, sometimes annoying, but also very smart. He actually doesn't have a sister in his family, so Chloe can be his first. The talent show then proceeds with Ella singing Russian opera, and everyone is amazed by her voice. We then move on to Nora, who does some Irish dancing. In confessional, Luciano says he loves how goofy this tribe is. Even this talent show proves that they are all unique. However, there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of the gameplay. Moments like these gives everyone a moment to breathe and stop thinking about the game. However, if he was Ella, Trance, and Willow, he'd be concerned about his safety. Those three are on the bottom of this tribe, and the current plan is to vote Ella or Trance at the first tribal council they attend as a new tribe. Luciano later chats with Nora, Chloe, and Wesley, and Luciano clarifies that the plan is still in action to take out Ella or Trance at their next tribal council. Chloe agrees and says nobody showed signs of flipping. Nora then says that they need to figure out what they'll do if they merge at some point. Trance and Ella have a lineup of soldiers, including Willow, Liesl, Zaylin, and Corey. If Liesl, Zaylin, and Corey survive their latest tribal council, that's a sign that they are running the game. In confessional, Nora feels like she needs to continue scaring Chloe, Wesley, and Joe so that they don't ever try to work with them. It won't make her seem like she's threatening them to vote for Ella and Trance. Rather, it would make them think they are making the decision on their own to get those two out. Plus, this is a real fear she has at the moment. She doesn't want Ella, Trance, and Willow to reunite with the 3 other co-POTAs on the new Ko-Tao tribe. That would give everyone else a disadvantage in the game. Chloe then confirms that nobody is flipping. There's no reason for them to flip. If they lose a challenge, they'll just have to ensure they know which way to go with the vote, whether that's eliminating Ella or Trance. In confessional, Wesley breathes out heavily, struggling to figure out what is best for his game. He knows Chloe and Joe want to keep Nora and Luciano around, but for him personally, he feels way better with Ella and Trance sticking around. You want bigger threats in the merge, and Nora and Luciano are basically non-threats to him. If anything, they are more likely to coast to the end game if they survive. Later on, Willow chats with Wesley, asking him how he currently feels about the tribe dynamics. Wesley says it's clear at this point that Nora and Luciano are going after them, Ella, and Trance. Willow nods and says they know, and they ask Wesley if him, Chloe, and Joe made up their mind yet regarding who they are siding with. Wesley breathes out, stating he doesn't have a clue yet. In confessional, Willow admits it's a bit concerning that Wesley, Joe, and Chloe haven't committed to any side of the tribe yet. That probably means they are leaning towards trusting Nora and Luciano, and that's not good whatsoever. If Ella and Trance are a sinking ship, maybe they need to flip sides and go back with Luciano, someone they considered working with in the past. Plus, they share a lot in common, so perhaps it could work out. Later on, Willow finds Luciano and talks to him about potentially linking up. Willow admits they are 10 days in and forming a duo, but to them, time shouldn't matter. Luciano smiles and agrees, telling Willow he would love to link up. Willow admits they are ready to flip on Trance and Ella if needed, and Luciano says it's pretty much locked in that one of them are leaving next. In confessional, Luciano feels this genuine energy from Willow. Willow actively came up to him and told him how they truly feel, and he believes what they are saying. Willow would make a great addition to his current alliance. More numbers is better going into a merge situation. Joe, Wesley, Ella, and Trance chat, and Wesley asks Ella and Trance who they would like to vote out between Nora and Luciano, and Ella says they are still gunning after Nora. But of course, if anyone would rather have Luciano go, that's fine too. Joe then admits that there's some debate still going on with the Kotao 3 for who they should side with, and it really just comes down to their pitches. Trance shrugs and says him and Ella made it clear day after day that Nora and Luciano would be weak allies to have. Ella then adds that herself and Trance bring a lot of numbers to a merge situation. They still have connections with the Ko-Poda trio on the other tribe. Nora and Luciano don't offer that. In confessional, Ella says she's stressing out with these Kotao players. They keep seemingly flipping from one side to the other, unable to decide on who they should commit their loyalty to. They have to make up their mind eventually. She's hoping her pitch to them is stronger than Nora's and Luciano's. Wesley then tells Ella and Trance that they will for sure let them know what they decide to do if they ever need to go to tribal council. For now, consider this tribe as a loyal aid if they make merge together. Ella smirks and says good luck to that since she doesn't see Nora and Luciano sticking to them. They will flip the first opportunity they get. Meanwhile on the Kotao tribe, Kaylee meets up with Zaylin and Liesl, and in confessional, Kaylee feels like it's best to spill the beans about Morgan's pitch to keep the original Kotao strong. Hopefully that'll extend the trust they have within their women's alliance. Kaylee then spills what Morgan and Jordan offered, explaining how Morgan feels threatened by the two of them and Corey. She said they took over the control of this tribe, and to her, that's scary. Zaylin and Liesl seem unfazed, and Liesl admits there's nothing Morgan and Jordan can say to convince them they should flip on Sabrina and Kaylee, especially after hearing this about Morgan. In confessional, Liesl feels like Zaylin is way too concerned about the trust they have with Corey. She's scared to break that trust and side with the women. To her, it's way better for herself and Zaylin to side with Kaylee and Sabrina. Not the other way around. She hopes Zaylin eventually realizes this and drops Corey from her priority list. Zaylin then affirms to Kaylee that there's nothing to worry about if they go to tribal council again. Morgan or Jordan will go home, and there's nothing else they can do about it. It's the 11th day in the game, and both tribes arrive to the challenge mats. Ko-Poda then finds out Wilbert was last voted out from Kotao. Justin then takes the immunity statue from Ko-Poda, claiming that immunity is back up for grabs. For today's challenge, 4 members of the tribe will be locked behind a cage. The other 3 tribe members must look for 4 keys in the digging zone to then unlock their tribe members. The first tribe to unlock all 4 tribe members from their cages will win immunity, safe from tribal council. Justin then asks Ko-Poda to sit 1 member out, and Willow decides to sit out. Everyone else then decides on who their 3 diggers will be, and on Kotao, it's Jordan, Morgan, and Corey, while on Ko-Poda, it's Wesley, Trance, and Ella. The other players are now locked in individual cages. With that, the challenge begins, and both groups of diggers begin clawing at the ground in their digging zone. Morgan immediately finds a key and tries unlocking each cage, failing to unlock the first 3 and then guessing correctly with the last one, unlocking Liesl. Corey then finds another key for Kotao, and he unlocks the first cage he tries out, freeing Kaylee from her cage. Jordan then finds the next key for Ko Tao, unlocking Sabrina's cage. Meanwhile, Ko Poda still has 0 keys. Morgan then shouts that she found the last key, and Ko Poda immediately stops digging, embarrassed by this challenge result. Morgan then unlocks Zaylin from her cage, meaning Ko Tao has 1 immunity, safe from the vote. It was a blowout for Ko Poda as they unlocked 0 cages. Everyone then stands on the mats in front of Justin and he hands over the immunity statue to Ko Tao. As for Ko Poda, someone will be the 6th person voted out of Survivor Thailand. He tells both tribes to head back to camp, so they make their way back. In confessional, Trance says that tonight will be the moment of truth. Chloe, Joe, and Wesley will need to make a decision of whether they'll side with him, Ella, and Willow, or side with Nora and Luciano. He's crossing his fingers his pitch works on them. At Ko Poda, everyone arrives to camp after their challenge loss, and Chloe says the challenge was rigged against them. The Survivor gods wanted a new tribe to go to tribal council this time. Wesley says their loss was bound to happen at some point, so it is what it is. Ella then asks Trance and Wesley if they want to go fill their water bottles together, and they follow her to the water well. At the water well, Ella tells Trance and Wesley that although she wouldn't mind who they vote for tonight, her own preference would be Nora because of challenge strength and the unreliability as an ally. She points out how Nora flipped on her close ally, EK, at the second Ko Poda Tribal Council. Trance agrees with this plan, and in confessional, Ella says she feels more positive about Wesley's vote than Joe's and Chloe's since Wesley is all about strength in numbers and challenges. Nora doesn't offer either of those while herself and Trance do. It'll definitely take a lot more to convince Chloe and Joe to vote for Nora tonight. Wesley then tells Trance and Ella that he's down to vote for Nora tonight. He'll have a chat or two with Chloe and Joe to make sure they are on the same page. Trance says there's a great opportunity for them to link up as a 6 moving forward. Plus, they have Luciano as an easy vote on this tribe if they lose another challenge. In confessional, Wesley claims he'd much rather keep Ella and Trance for his game. He has a better bond with them than with Nora and Luciano. They also have a way better pitch because they have solid numbers going into a merge scenario. Not only that, but Ella and Trance can be solid shields for him as they might be seen as bigger threats. The only problem is that Chloe feels more indebted to Luciano and Nora, making this decision a lot more complicated tonight. Meanwhile, Nora pulls aside Chloe and Joe, asking them if they have made up their mind yet for this vote. Chloe then says they agreed Ella would go first between her and Trance. Nora immediately says she's cool with this, and in confessional, Nora says she feels really good about Chloe, Joe, and Wesley for tonight's tribal council vote. She made sure to work on her relationships with them, especially with Chloe and Joe. Unfortunately for Ella, this might be her last night in the game. At camp, Willow and Luciano remain since everyone else split up, and Willow reiterates to Luciano that they are still willing to flip sides and work with him and Nora moving forward. Luciano then tells Willow to vote Trance tonight, and Willow says they'll do that. In confessional, Willow admits it's really hard to play Survivor with an injured foot, and each day it feels progressively worse. It's really difficult to move around, especially since this game is all about staying on your feet and competing for your survival. At the moment, they've decided to flip sides and work with Luciano because Ella and Trance don't have a chance at sticking around. Luciano then tells Willow he's really happy they can play this game together, especially because of their diverse backgrounds. Willow smiles and thanks him for just being who he is as a person. He helps them get through tough times out here. Later on, Ella chats with Chloe, asking her how she's feeling about this vote. Chloe then states the obvious. Herself, Joe, and Wesley will ultimately have to pick a side between her, Trance, and Willow, and then Nora and Luciano. Ella then encourages Chloe to state what she looks for in an ally, because she'd be happy to answer why she's a better choice to keep than Nora. Chloe then tells Ella that she wants someone who firstly won't cut her in the future, and secondly won't coast to the end. Ella then smirks, telling Chloe she'll gladly claim both of those things as an ally. She doesn't have any reason to cut her, Joe, and Wesley going forward, especially her, since she wants to see the women thrive this season. Plus, she herself cannot coast to the end because she knows people will view her as a threat just because of her personality. Nora can't do either of these things for her because Nora has so many more opportunities to become a coaster, and she doesn't value her alliance members. She flipped on her closest ally on day 4. Chloe nods and says her pitch sounds very appealing to her, but she's just worried about her closeness to the other co-POTA players. She doesn't want them to be prioritized over herself. Ella tells her that shouldn't be a worry because once they merge, she's naturally going to be closer to her, Joe, Wesley, Willow, and Trance. Much more over the co-POTA people on the other tribe. She doesn't even know their dynamic right now. In confessional, Chloe sighs and says this move might make or break her game going forward. Ultimately, between her, Joe, and Wesley, she has more influence in this vote. Wherever she votes, the two guys will vote. She's trying to weigh up both voting options, and it's hard to figure out what's best. Ella is fighting like hell to stay, and she respects that a lot. On the other hand, Ella might be more cutthroat than someone like Nora. She has more badass energy in her to make her cut someone in the near future. Chloe then thanks Ella for her pitch, telling her she'll consider everything she and Nora told her in their pitches to stay. Ella hugs Chloe and says she loves her no matter what. Meanwhile, Wesley chats with Joe, asking him what he and Chloe think at the moment for this vote. Joe straight up says he's leaning towards keeping Nora because she seems more genuine in her pitch. Ella is much more frightening as a player. Wesley says he feels the opposite, though. In fact, Ella has more to offer to their trio than Nora does. Ella offers numbers for them in the merge. In confessional, Wesley says he hopes Joe and Chloe reconsider their decision to vote out Ella. He doesn't feel confident with Nora as an alliance member compared to Ella. Ella literally said that she hasn't shown signs of being a flipper, unlike Nora who has. This decision may ultimately come down to Chloe because Joe seems set in stone to vote for Ella. It's now night 11, and co-POTA has a seat at Tribal Council, ready for what's to come. Justin then welcomes co-POTA to their first Tribal Council since the mini-swap. He turns to Luciano, asking him how things have been like for the 5 co-POTA members here as they introduce 3 new co-Tau members. Luciano says it's been great. All 3 co-Tau members are awesome in their own ways. He found himself bonding with them so well on a personal and game level. Justin then asks Chloe if the co-Tau trio can say the same about co-POTA, and Chloe says absolutely. She loves each person here dearly, both personally and game-wise. Each person has a different personality, and thankfully they've all meshed pretty well so far. Justin then turns to Wesley, asking him if tonight's vote is strictly based on tribe division. Wesley shakes his head, saying that he feels like everyone here can agree that co-POTA has been after each other this past week. Essentially, co-POTA split in 2 on this tribe. There's Nora and Luciano who claim they were on the bottom of their original tribe, and then there's Willow, Ella, and Trance who claim they were in a majority on their original tribe. Now that himself, Chloe, and Joe exist on the tribe, they have to pick a side. Justin then asks Chloe what criteria the 3 of them are considering when picking a side, and Chloe simply says she values loyalty and trust. She wants to keep the group that will remain loyal to her and her 2 co-Tau friends moving forward. Justin then asks Trance if any co-POTA member seems untrustworthy in his eyes, and Trance says he fully believes Nora and Luciano are untrustworthy. They have shown signs of being flippers based on the 3rd Tribal Council when they voted out EK. Luciano then speaks up, telling Trance he can't make that claim when he and Ella literally flipped the first tribal they went to and took out Kimlee over Liesl. So much for claiming loyalty. Ella then tells Luciano that it's different because the lines weren't set in stone until after the first tribal council. People were still exploring. He's referring to something that occurred on day 2 while they are talking about stuff that happened 4 days in. Nora then speaks up, stating that she finds it ironic how Ella and Trance preach loyalty when they literally told her and Luciano to stick with Copoda right after the mini-swap, and then they proceeded to talk to Chloe, Joe, and Wesley about taking them out. It wasn't even 2 hours until they flipped on herself and Luciano. Ella says she never wanted to be loyal to her and Luciano, and that's just a fact. She always knew they would have to go. Nora then says Chloe, Joe, and Wesley will be the judges of that when they go up and vote tonight. Justin then asks if anyone else wants to add anything, and Willow says they want to say something before everyone votes. Everyone then turns to Willow, and Willow says they haven't felt any better ever since their foot felt crushed from that boulder challenge. Every day has felt worse and worse for them, constantly feeling sharp pain in their foot when they walk. Plus, this won't heal until the season finishes, which means they can't even play the full game of Survivor. Although they wanted to continue playing this game and represent their community, they unfortunately feel like they'd be better off going home tonight to have a safer recovery than being out here. The injury means more to them than the game. Justin then asks Willow to clarify if they are asking to be voted out, and Willow says yes. Although people had a set plan going into tonight's vote, they'd much rather see these 7 awesome people move forward one more day. Justin then asks Chloe if that changes anything for tonight's vote, and Chloe says that if Willow truly wants to go home, she's cool with it. She doesn't want to see someone suffer even longer. Trance then says he feels for Willow since getting voted out feels much better than officially quitting. Although it sucks, he feels like it's best to go ahead and vote Willow. Justin asks Nora if she agrees with voting Willow, and Nora says she'll do it. Willow then starts to tear up, apologizing to everyone if this tribal got ruined by this decision, and Luciano tells Willow not to apologize. They all love each other no matter what. With that, Justin tells everyone they can get to this vote, so everyone prepares.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote, Willow. Wesley. That's 1 vote Willow, 1 vote Wesley. Willow. Willow. 3 votes Willow. Willow. 4 votes Willow. Sixth person voted out of Survivor Thailand. Willow.
Willow gets up and thanks everyone for following through with their wish, and Chloe says they all love them. Willow places their torch down next to Justin and turns around to tell the tribe to rock it. Justin snuffs Willow's torch and everyone claps for Willow as they make their way out. Ella covers her face and Nora laughs to herself, stating that the plot thickens. Justin then tells everyone to make their way back to camp, so they all begin making their way back. Next time on Survivor Thailand. After 7 days of the mini-swap tribes, the 14 remaining players must go through yet another swap, this time more official as the 2 tribes will be fully randomized. Will anyone be screwed by the swap results? Plus, old tribal lines start to shift as past allies begin to clash. Find out all the chaos and fun next episode. Willow's final thoughts. Willow knows how much it sucks to be seen as a quote-unquote quitter, but they feel like they had no other choice but to ask to get voted out. They didn't really want Ella or Trance to go tonight, and at the same time, their own foot got progressively worse over time. Willow says that they'd call this experience authentic if they had to describe it in one word.